Hey, hi, welcome back to the channel. So in today's video, I will talk about an ISB applicant who I mentored in the last admission cycle, which is 2024, and she is in ISB right now in 2025. Why am I specifically talking about her? Simply because when I was mentoring her because of her GMAT score and the rest of the profile, uh, I thought that the odds were stacked against us, and but despite all those impediments, she ended up getting through. So I'll talk about her candidature step by step, right from education to WorkEx to extracurriculars and GMAT, right? So once again, I'll not reveal the details. I'll just talk about the skeleton of the profile to give us a brief idea of what worked for her and what was her education like in terms of grades and WorkEx Count, WorkEx Quality, and beyond the classroom initiatives. So let's get started. I have my notes open in front of me. So she had 90s, a percentage in 90s in class 12th, which is great, but her academics BBA degree was, average in terms of her academic profile. So education in itself is average, not good, not bad, average, because in the 90s in 12th, and she had an average GPA in undergrad. Now, when it comes to the second component, and this is exactly how ISB evaluates your profile, just letting you know, they look at your academic profile, 12th, college, they look at the WorkEx count, then the WorkEx quality, then extracurriculars, and then they look at GMAT, and then they read your essays, and then they try to make a decision. So, in terms of WorkEx count, she had 3 years of WorkEx broadly, which is less than the ISB median of 3.5, 4 years of WorkEx last year. So her WorkEx count was below average, academics were average. And when it came to her WorkEx quality, she had worked for broadly 2 years in a marketing agency, and she had done some good work there. She won a couple of work accolades. But now what comes next is interesting. She left her job broadly after 2 years of WorkEx with this marketing agency in the brand services team, and she decided to contribute in her family run business. And when we were applying for the school, we showcased 8-9 months of WorkEx for or broadly 1 year of WorkEx for her family business. Now, a lot of applicants reach out to me and ask me that, Sarthak, is family business WorkEx even considered by ISB? Is it good enough? Do I count it in my WorkEx section? Obviously, yes, you should. If you're able to present it well in your essays, and if you're able to tell me that, okay, this is why I left my job and how this is aligned to my long-term goals, then I'll appreciate you for your clarity, right? So never ever, have this assumption in your mind that, I have worked in my family business for the last 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. That's why I'll be considered inferior by the school. That's not the case ever. That is not the case. In fact, taking the entrepreneurial plunge, be it for your own venture or the family business or a friend's business, is considered to be advantageous because it adds that uniqueness in your application, right? Which others might not be able to showcase. So she had that uniqueness in terms of entrepreneurial plunge into her family business after working for a marketing agency. And we capitalized on this uniqueness in the essays. I'll come to that. So I would say WorkEx count below average, WorkEx quality above average, simply because of the fact that she took the plunge and she was working in her family business. That adds some zing and spice to the essays and the overall candidature. And ISB, in fact, has some infatuation, some preference for people who have done something of their own, whether it's a side project alongside your work, whether it's something that you did in college, whether it's your own venture, whether it's a family business. But you have to bring it out really, really tactically, strategically in the essays. You have to defend it really, really well in the interviews, right? So WorkEx quality definitely above average. In extracurriculars, I would say below average because she had done swimming in her formative years, but not something which was recurring in nature. She had done a couple of marketing internships, but that's something that everybody does in college. She had done volunteering, which is common these days. One thing that she had in terms of a proxy for leadership spikes was the Rotact Club, right? So she was the president in her city chapter. But I think extracurriculars, even if I think about Rotact presidency, would be average, right? So scores average, WorkEx count below average, WorkEx quality above average, extracurriculars average. Till now, you will say that this candidate will not get through ISB. Let me give you another statistic to strengthen your opinion, strengthen your argument, which is her GMAT score was 615, which is on the lower side. Given that you already have average academics, you have less than 4 years of WorkEx, you have a 615 on the GMAT, still she ended up getting through ISB. Why is that? I believe when we ranked her on different parameters, the only thing that she was evidently, indisputably great at was her WorkEx quality. The fact that she worked for a marketing agency for 2 years and then she shifted to her family business. And that is what we try to capitalize on in our essays. A lot of people ask me that, Sarthak, should I be great at academics and extracurriculars and WorkEx, everything? No. You have to be very introspective in nature and you have to decide, okay, this is what I'm good at. Whatever that one parameter is, zero down on it and try to flesh it out really well in your essays. If you do that, trust me, you can land an interview call, even if your GMAT or GRE is stacked against you, right? Now, let me go to our essays and tell you what I mean by capitalizing on that one parameter. So, in the first essay last year, we talked about Rotact, which is how did she develop an inclination towards social impact and community service, and how did she try to emulate that in the Rotact Club. But I think the essay that really played the part of a trump card for her was essay 2 for that matter, because in that essay we talked about instances from her family business where she did some project and she was able to do it partially well, but she thought that if I had an MBA degree or a business education, I would be able to do this job really, really well as a future entrepreneur, because her goal, eventually long-term goal, was entrepreneurship, right? So in the second essay, we tried to bring out her experiences from the family business WorkEx, where she was doing a certain project, whether it was leading a team, whether it was trying to do a cost benefit analysis, whatever it was, specific projects which made her realize the need to do an MBA because of certain gaps. So I think the second essay for her, as compared to other applicants, would have been very strong because of the fact that she was working on her own family business and she was able to bring out the gaps really, really well, right? And in the third essay, so third essay was goals essay, where we talked about entrepreneurship as a goal and how her recent plunge in the family business was important for her to get a ringside view of how businesses are built from scratch. And that was our rationale behind explaining the plunge, right? Which is, we took the plunge because our eventual goal is entrepreneurship. And that is why I wanted to get a very autonomous view lens of how marketing, sales, operations, finance works as an interplay, as an interconnected Venn diagram, right? So that is there. And in her interview, firstly, we were not expecting to get an interview call, but she did. We applied with a 615. And when we got an interview call, she was waitlisted. And after, I think by January 2025, her waitlisted status was cleared and she got an admit. And she was so happy. I think she got into ISB as well and Bitsom as well. But she ended up choosing ISB because she wanted to do brand management and marketing. And ISB invites a lot of recruiters for marketing and brand management, like HUL, ITC, Reliance, Siemens, Godrej, and the like. So that's why. But I was so happy to see her get through, because it was very difficult. 615 GMAT, less than average WorkEx, okayish academics. So the only thing that stood out for us was the plunge into the family business. We capitalized on that in essay 2 and essay 3, and that became the topic of conversation in the interviews as well. In the interview, if you have worked on your own venture or the family business, it becomes a little difficult because it becomes a Shark Tank India pitch. They ask you everything from unit economics to who are your vendors, to how will you grow this business, to why don't you continue with this family business, why do you need to do an MBA, why don't you do the ISB PGP MFAB. So all those curveball questions we prepared for, and she finally ended up getting an admit. So I was really, really proud. But I hope this video was helpful to you to get an understanding of what kind of profiles get into ISB. And if you want to get your profile evaluated, always there to help. You can reach out to me through the link in the comments. I'll put out a Google form there. You can reach out to me. And thank you so much.